All right, SEALs. As I promised, I was going to talk about a play from Saturday, and I wanted to shift gears a little bit. We've been talking about the breakout and some other things. I wanted to talk about this breakaway that we got. This was on the power play early in the game. They got a penalty, and we went up 5-on-4. And pretty quickly after they got the penalty, we got a nice odd man rush, meaning we've got 3 players going up ice close to the puck, and they've got 1 player back, okay? You could almost call this a 2-on-0 or a 2-on-1 half because the back checker kind of got back, but we also had Hudson following up the play closely. So this was a good play. We had a really awesome scoring chance, and I want everybody to know and to remember, I'm going to keep reminding everybody this, that I'm not admonishing anybody. I'm not ripping on anybody. I just want all of us to try to elevate our game. And in order to do that, we've got to critique and we've got to point out ways that we can do things better. As I've mentioned many times, we don't have a lot of time together. And so we've got to learn from the situations that we see. And this is an absolute perfect learning opportunity. And you'll see that there's a couple of different plays and concepts that are going on here that cause us not to score when we actually were in really good position to. So I'll set the scene here. I've got Grigoriev with the puck at the red line. Luke is just a little ahead. Hudson's following behind Grigoriev. We've got Edith following up. And then over there on the far side, we've got Liliana. Again, it's 5-on-4. You can see we've left 3 of their players in our zone. We have the puck at the red line, and they've only got 1 player back, and he's a half a stride behind and not anywhere near the puck. Okay, this should be a prime scoring chance. Okay. So let me zoom in a little bit here. We're going to see Greg comes up just outside the dots, gets the puck, loads up, shoots. There's a rebound that goes to the corner. Luke gets the rebound, tries to throw it out in front of the net, and it gets stolen. Liliana tries to make a play, and then they're actually out of the zone. And not to, rain on a parade here of good job, but they end up scoring. We end up giving a shorthanded goal. Shorthanded goals happen. In my opinion, there's not much of an excuse for this because we were in really good position, and it's so early in the game that we shouldn't have been tired or anything like that because we didn't have any of that adversity that hit us later on with the injury and the ejection. So we were fresh. We should have been able to get back and get into position, and we didn't, okay? So this is kind of the way hockey goes. Good play, not so good play, and then, bad things can happen when the other team gets the puck. So let's start off this by talking about the shot and shooting in this situation, okay? Let me say the shot is not a problem. You have license to shoot. You have the green light to shoot. When you are 1-on-0 on the goalie, by all means, try to score a goal, right? But there's a couple of things that I want to point out and a couple of details that I think are going to help us score more often than what is going on here, okay? So, again, Greg, I'm not saying you shouldn't have shot, but next time when you get in that situation, I want you to think more about some angles, okay? We're going to talk angles, geometry, okay? So, first things first, we cross the blue line just outside the dot. There's no problem with that. That's fine, okay? We're cutting inside the dot here, and we shoot from just inside the dot, okay? Now, I want you to think about something in this instance here. And I want you to think about where your stick is. You're a right-handed shot down the right side, which means that your stick is always to the outside, okay? And goalies are taught to square up to the puck, okay? So this goalie, you can see his eyes. He is staring at that puck, and he is squaring up to that puck, meaning he knows his spacing. He knows where his pipes are behind him, okay? He's been drilled on that, and he comes out to cut down angle so that you don't have much to shoot at, okay? And you'll see right here when you load up to shoot, meaning when you sort of cock the arms back and get ready to shoot right there, right? You're like, okay, now I'm going to shoot. he doesn't move ever again. So watch the goalie. Watch how the goalie is moving. And you can see it perfectly right here. He's square to the puck. 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 You load up to shoot right now, and he never moves again. Okay? Because you can see that where you took that puck, all you were ever doing is taking yourself farther and farther out of angle. Okay? Meaning, let me show you. I have it on I drew a picture of this here. Okay? As you're loading up to shoot, whoops, sorry about that. As you're loading up to shoot, this top bar on the right there is getting farther and farther down the line towards the goal line and making the shot across the lower bar harder and harder and harder to hit and easier for him to come out and cut off, if that makes sense. Okay? So every moment that you're going forward in the same direction that you're traveling, right? Every moment that you are going this direction, you're making this bar, this shot, harder and harder to accomplish. And the goalie knows it. That's why he doesn't move again. Because he knows no matter what you do, you're actually making it worse for yourself with geometry, okay? So that's recognition point number one, is at some point as a right-handed shooter down the right side of the ice, you need to be able to try to bring, let me put it in yellow here, to try to bring sorry. You need to try to bring yourself this way into the middle of the ice. You have to try to drag the puck leftward and make the goalie move leftward. Because then you can shoot back that way. Because he's come across to try to cut you off. Again, if we look back at the video when it was moving, when you were moving, you could see he was shuffling his feet to square up to you. So if you cut this way, he's got to do the same thing back towards the middle of the net. And sometimes he'll leave that side, the far side where he just came from, or the near side, excuse me, where he just came from, open. Okay? Does that make sense? So you think about the idea that you could tuck it, lean in, start cutting in. I know there's a guy there, but you've got to step on him, and you've got a wide stance. He probably won't be able to get to you. But you might have felt the presence. You might have felt his pressure there, and so you thought, I better stay outside. Okay? And there's nothing wrong with that. You're not wrong to do that, okay? But what ends up happening is, if we go back to the video and we realize that we end up giving up a rebound that really can't be played. And what I mean by that is there's no rebound out into the middle of the ice, okay? Right here, you've got him beat. You made him freeze. So we want to think about it like that. I want the goalie to commit. I want him to commit to a stance, and I would really like him to drop. So right here, you could kind of what I call showing hands. You could give a hard pump fake, lean into your stick, and drop your hip and make it look like you're gonna shoot. And I bet you he drops, and then you'd have even more of the net to shoot at, right? Then you could cut more to the left, and you'd have him beat. Okay. But the idea is that you want to make him move, okay? You want to make him move. And right now, you're not making him move, as we can see. He never moves again until he reaches to get the puck, okay? And then there's another concept that I want to talk about to say, okay, fine. Let's say that guy was way closer to you in blue and he got a stick on you and you needed to really fend him off. So you were trying to get away. So you stayed over there on your right. And let's say Luke wasn't there in front of the net, okay? And you shot. Or he wasn't as close to the front of the net and you shot. This is an instance where you want to say to yourself, I want to shoot. Yes, I want to try to score. But the goalie is squared up on me. The odds are, no matter how good a shooter I am, that he's going to be able to stop that because he can see it, right? He's looking right at it. He's squared up to it, and he's come out to cut down the angle. In those instances, you have to recognize the goalie has you beat, okay? I'm not saying you can't snipe him here. He's a little smaller guy. You could shoot it over his shoulder. I get it. I understand. But for the most part, if a goalie can see you and is squared up to you and is a decent goalie, okay, they're going to stop that shot most of the time. So percentage-wise, I'm not saying there's no point in shooting, but try to shoot for a rebound. So if we advance this just a little bit, watch how you shoot up high and the rebound goes high. But if you had shot it right into his shin pads right there, look where Luke is. That thing might have just come right off his shin pad straight onto Luke's stick like a pass, okay? So in that instance, you're kind of shooting for a rebound rather shooting than score. 100% I do not expect you to know that. I don't expect you to think about that. And what you tried to do was 100% the correct thing to try to do. Try to score, okay? Again, I'm just going over some things that are going to help you score more, okay? As a player, as an individual, and as a team. So we went over changing the angle, cut into the center of the ice to make the goalie have to slide over, okay? But I want to go over another concept that's super important that carries itself over across different areas of the ice and is really, really important when it comes to attacking another team, okay? What we're going to talk about is a concept that's called the Royal Road, okay? Now, the Royal Road, if you will, is a section of ice that goes from pipe to pipe, and it goes all the way down the ice, goal to goal, okay? And then there's another portion of it that is essentially the same thing, but it's across, it goes across the top of the circle. So it's like this. It's like this. So this is kind of the Royal Road, okay, is the phrase. And you can look it up, and there's diagrams of it, and there's all kinds of discussions of it. But for the most part, what we want to think about is that we want to try to cross the Royal Road with either our feet and the puck or let the puck cross it by passing it, okay? And so let's talk about crossing the line at the top of the circle. That's not at the top of the circle, excuse me, out here, okay? That one's pretty logical when you think about it, right? That one is like, well, I'm closer to the goal. If I shoot from way out here, I mean, I might score, but more than likely, I'm not going to just go straight in the goal, right? Sometimes it'll be tipped, and again, it happens, but our odds of scoring go way, way, way up when we cross this. Now, in the video that we saw, Greg did a good job of crossing that portion of the Royal Road, okay? So his odds went up. He didn't shoot from outside the circle. He shot from around the dot, and that's good, okay? It's excellent. But we didn't cross the Royal Road going this way, either skating or passing, okay? So that was what I was talking about when I said to cut into the middle of the ice. Came in just outside the dots, cut into the middle of the ice and cross the Royal Road. Maybe shoot while you're within that red bar, within the Royal Road. Okay? Because now you're in the middle and the goalie goes, uh-oh, he can go either direction. So he's going to naturally not have the easiest time squaring up to you because you haven't taken all of your angle away, like I just said. Showed you on when you were over here shooting, you don't have angle, right? It's hard to shoot there and it's hard to shoot there. He comes out and squares up to you and you can't get anything by him, okay? But if you're standing in the middle of the Royal Road, skating in the middle of the Royal Road, skating through it, you now have both sides of the net available to you. And you've also made him shift over to try to curl back to cover as you start to come into the middle of the ice, okay? So they've done all these statistical studies to find out that crossing the first one and then crossing the main Royal Road increases your odds significantly. But what increases your odds even more is to pass the puck across the Royal Road, okay? So the famous Ovechkin one-timer comes from, he sets up right here in Ovi's office. It comes from the other side of the Royal Road to here. Bang, in the net, rips it one time. Why? Well, because goalies square up to the puck. The puck is right here. The goalie is square to the puck. He's no longer square to the puck. That empty side is open because he's got to move all the way across. The fast ripping shot, the fast pass to get to him, and he doesn't have any time to get over it. He can't slide over fast enough, okay? Well, if we go back and we take a look at that play one more time, and we look here and we say, man, could we have crossed the Royal Road? Absolutely, we could have crossed the Royal Road. Right? I mean, look at what we've got. The Royal Road is right, it's pipe to pipe. It's like this. It's hard to draw because this is kind of at an angle, but it's like this. Okay? Slide that puck over. Bang, goal. Now, obviously, the goalie's going to try to slide over, and that's why I was saying to Luke before, put your stick on the ice. Get ready to shoot that right now. And maybe that's why Greg didn't pass it to you. Maybe he didn't pass it because he looked over and thought you weren't ready, okay? So be ready. And if you're going to try to one-time it as a right-hander there, you got to turn around backwards and slide in. And then just lay it out to him in front of him and let him skate and then rip it, okay? But you don't even need to do a one-timer there, really. You could just slide it across in front right as you show hands right here. Show hands, make him drop, make him freeze, slide it across, and let Luke just slide in and slap it right in the net. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay, and then the last thing that I want to talk about, okay, is I want to talk about what happens at the end of the play, not the goal, because that was disheartening, and I'll talk about that in a different video. But I want to talk about several of the habits that I've seen from our team and our players that we have to break, okay? So since it's first in time, I'm going to talk about Greg, okay? Once again, I'm telling you, Greg, fine shot. Don't feel bad about shooting, but I want to isolate what you do after you shoot. Shots off. Look where you go. Now, just like you in this video, we have no idea where the puck is. We have no idea what's going on behind us. We have to wait until we turn all this way. But I want to go back to a moment in time right there. Shots off. Plant your right foot on the ice and stop right there. That's a fantastic spot to be. You're off the far post, okay? Or the near post, sorry. You're off the near post. That's a great place to camp out, okay? Excellent spot right there. But again, instead, and I talked about this in the other video, you turn your back to the play. Very bad habit. Watch your toes. Toes are pointing relatively towards the goal. Now they're pointing away, okay? and your head turns and you look the other direction. Okay. Let me briefly mention Hudson. Hudson, I think this is a great spot. You followed the play up, even though you're a defenseman, you followed the play up. Okay. I think it's a great idea to go behind the net. It's a power play. We kind of want to set up our power play. And I actually think, I'll go over this in a moment, the puck should have come to you right here. Okay. If it were to be passed. Okay. So that's a good habit. I like that. Excellent habit. Okay. Next player that I want to talk about is I want to talk about Edith. Okay. And obviously, I know Edith's game well. And this is something that she and I have worked on a decent amount. Okay. So I'm a bit like, I'm going to harp on this a bit. I'm going to be stringent upon this because it happens too often, and it's not just Edith. A bunch of people do it, right? We just saw Greg do it, but it's all characterized as taking yourself out of good ice for no reason, okay? Good ice, right? Number 33, you cruise into the zone. I think that's fine. I'd like to see you skating a little bit harder here. You skated hard to get up there, and then you don't press. Look at all the space. There's still guys behind you on the other team. There's 2 players behind you, 3. Number 5's kind of behind you. He's kind of, so you're ahead of the play already. Keep going. You should be maybe right off the hip of the player in the blue. So then we would have 4 players going at the net. We should have a goal here. Okay, but you can see you kind of slow up. And then, even after you slowed up, it didn't work out. It worked out that it didn't really matter because the puck, the rebound was not in front. But had there been a rebound, look where you could have been at the hash marks bearing down on the goal, okay? But then right here, watch your toes. Whoop, you flip your toes and you start taking yourself out of the play. Now, you don't turn your back on the play, and that's a good thing, and you kind of pivot so you're facing the play, but why leave that area? You should be standing right now, right where the guy in the red pants are, okay? Or at the very least, go and work right towards Luke, right? So you get here and you're like slow, slow, slow. And now you start working towards Luke and then kind of curl back the other way so you can put yourself in a quick shot position. If he fed you the puck right there, you could shoot right away, okay? So that's a habit that we have to break. You find yourself in good ice and then you take yourself out of good ice. Okay, and then you'll see once Luke picks up the puck right there, you're not in a passing lane. You are sort of, but he's still, this guy over there is in the play. So I say this a lot. You brought yourself out of a passing lane into a position where you're covered. And so Luke couldn't pass it to you. Okay? Now, lastly, and let me preface this by saying to Luke, I really like your game. You're playing hard. I love the fact that you skate so hard and you keep winning the puck in these situations. This is like the 2nd or 3rd time I've seen you do this. So this is excellent. You've got space. You've got time after a rebound. You're alone essentially in the corner. There's pressure coming, but you're not under direct pressure. This puck should never be lost at this point. We should still be skating around with this puck. I'm just sort of joking, but the point is like, if Edith stays in the middle of the ice and you get your head up and look, you've got an easy pass. But even if Edith does what she does, look at the distance between you and the players in white, okay? You've got space, you've got time, you've got Hudson behind the net. There's no reason that this should be a turnover that led directly to a goal, okay? And so I wanted, again, trust me, I'm not singling you out, Luke. It's just because I see everybody do this. I've seen all the forwards win a puck and just fling it into the front of the net to nobody, okay? And I want to go back to this moment in time right here, okay? Swat at the puck. You're aware of where the puck is going now. You can pick up the trajectory of the puck, okay? Right now, you need to look over to your left and your right. You should be checking over your shoulder because you're aware, okay, this puck's going to skitter to the wall and I'm going to go pick it up. If you look over your right shoulder, you'll see Hudson. If you look over your left shoulder, you'd see Edith and you'd see the guy in white. If you looked up this way, you'd see Liliana, okay? And this is my point about Greg being out of play. He can't find you here. There's no way even if he looks, he's not going to know where you are. Whereas if you were camped out on that post right in there, he could turn his shoulder, he could turn his head, and he might see you over there and go, oh, okay, I know. So we need shoulder check now, right? So the shot comes, you tip it to yourself, shoulder check, okay? And then I would say right before you pick it up, shoulder check again. Now you do briefly. I'll give you that. I'll give you credit right there. I can see your face turn a little bit. You look up at Liliana. I don't know if you could see Edith there. But then from that moment forward, there's absolutely zero look. You can see you're still looking down when you throw that puck. Then you look up and go, uh-oh, okay? And I've said this before that in this instance, the best thing that can happen is that it just goes flying through and maybe it comes over here and Greg picks it back up. Okay, that's the best that can happen, okay? Now, actually, Liliana's open for a pass at this point because the guy in the white decided that he was going to slide up the wall, thinking you might try to chip it up the wall. So he even took himself out of the play, and you had even more time than you thought. And you had two players standing right there, and Hudson, who might have been available, okay? So I've asked everybody, I've begged everybody, and this counts for defense when we're in the defensive zone, when we're in the neutral zone. Neutral zone's a little bit different, but generally all across the ice in every position, do not just fling the puck away to nobody on the hope that there's somebody there, okay? That's what this was, a hope pass, okay? And again, unfortunately, and I don't say this to rub salt in the wounds here, but this resulted in a goal. They took off up ice right here, and they scored a shorthanded goal. And you can see we left 4 stranded. Now Hudson gets back and puts a back check on, but we left 3 stranded in the zone, and they came down on essentially a 2-on-1, 2-on-1.5, and 2-on-2 kind of, and scored a goal, a shorthanded goal. So if you just walk it out of the corner here, like to me, Luke, if you're not sure what to do, if you don't know where to go or who to pass it to, just skate it. Carry it out of the corner. Again, he dished up the wall like he thought you were going to chip it up the wall. You could have faked up the wall like you were going to chip it and then just walked into the middle of the ice. Started coming in the middle of the ice. This guy that ended up picking up the pass probably would have come out and played you. Then Edith could have ducked down. Hudson could have curled in, right? And by that time, Greg would have been back in the play, and you might have been able to pass to him, okay? So just skate it if you don't know what to do with it. You could have skated it behind the net and done a little exchange with Hudson, or let Hudson come around the other way and you come around the net and passed, right? We're on the power play, and there's still 47 seconds left in the power play, and we haven't even set up yet. We haven't done anything. So there's no hurry, right? If you look up at the clock and there's 3 seconds on the clock and we have to score now, I still don't want you to throw it out into the front of the net to nobody, okay? Now, if somebody's standing out there yelling and holding their stick up, or you see that we've got some numbers out there, that's fine. But these are tough passes to make, okay? And really, in my opinion, this is just a holdover from your first learning the game from 6U or 8U, whenever you started, okay? Where coaches would just say, throw it to the front of the net, center it, and they'd want you just to wing it in front of the net on the hope that somebody was there. And if there was somebody there, it started a scrum in front of the net, and that was a good thing. Well, we're older now, and you can see the other team got into their triangle in front of the net. They've got one chaser over there. That puck is never getting through. There's 3 players in the way of that puck, okay? And we're in position around the outside of the ice. We don't need to put the puck in the middle of the ice. We need to bring them out. And you can see the guy that picked it off is coming out. He's here. He's coming out to get you. If you just stood there and moved over towards the referee, all of a sudden they're going to have 2 players in that corner. I guarantee it. Now Edith looks wide open because this player is like, uh-oh, I don't know where to go. We got Hudson there. We got Liliana. And we got Greg coming back in, okay? So please, 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 players, all of you, take a look. Take a look before you get to the puck. Take a look when you get to the puck. And then try to have a plan before you pick it up as to what you're going to do. And try to remove the plan of, I'm just going to fling it up the wall or I'm going to fling it into the middle of the ice, okay? It very rarely ever works out in our favor. And in this instance, it worked out decidedly not in our favor because it could have just gone harmlessly to the other side of the ice. Instead, it went up the ice and back in the back of our net. So does that make sense? Please feel free to have any questions, and please, if you can, watch the whole game. There's tons of stuff that we can look at, okay?